Hello, it's Sandy with Sandy Cogdell Designs, and today I have a really quick video showing how to do the background inking on this particular card. The image is from a stamp set put out by Riley and Company. It's part of their Mushroom Lane collection, and this particular one is from the Urban Chic. Haunted Mushroom is the name of this stamp. Now I've done this stamp layered, and that is on my blog, kind of with a quick process on that. You can also go to their website, and Tanya gives a really good detailed description on how to do the layered house. This particular one, I had so much fun coloring the first one that I decided I wanted to do another card. I wanted to color it again. But this time I just left it one layer, and then I added in the inking for the background. I'm not going to go into the coloring on this because I just figure everybody can use whatever pens they want or colors that they want. Plus, these do take a little bit of time to color, and I was just more interested in sharing the background process. Go ahead and hit like if you like this video. You can also subscribe to be notified of future videos. You can follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdell or my blog, www.sandycogdelldesigns.com. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing I did was actually stamped the image on a piece of Express It blending card, which is what I like to use for Copic coloring. I'm not a big fan of it for ink blending, but when I have something this large to color, that's the paper that I would prefer to use. I have also stamped the image on a piece of Gina K Masking Magic and cut out just inside the lines on that house to use as a mask for this project. I also, when I initially stamped the image, I left off, or I wiped off the inking on the bat and the inking on the cloud with the moon, because I was going to do my own background. So starting off, I'm going to use a stencil. This is actually a Lawn Fawn stencil. It's called, I think it's just Grassy Stencil. And I'm going to take some Twisted Citron Stress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to lay in my ink coloring at the bottom, just going over my mask and all the way across the card. I'm going to take the top part of that stencil and I'm going to place it over the area I just inked. I'll go ahead and tape that down with some of the blue tape. When I do that, I do want to leave just the smallest little bit of ink showing above that stencil. That's going to help when I go to ink blend that background. That's going to help me not to have any white blank spots. Not that that's the end of the world, because we can fix that with markers, but it's just a little bit easier. The next stencil that I'm going to use is also a Lawn Fawn stencil. It's called Nighttime Sky. And I'm going to place the moon over the masking where I want the moon to be. So I don't want it way up in that right-hand corner because I'm going to be cutting this down. I just want to make sure that it is there, it is present, and it is offsetting that pretty blue roof that I've got. I'm going to start laying in some Squeezed Lemonade Distress Oxide ink in that moon opening. As you're going to be able to see, is I wasn't very careful, and I kind of ink blended a little bit of that yellow off to the right side of that stencil and down below the stencil, so I had some yellow in there. It really wasn't a game changer, especially because I had gotten so far along in the process now that I wasn't going to start all over again. And I figured that I'd be able to blend in some ink to kind of cover up that yellow section. If you look at my card really, really close, you can see the yellow, especially above that little cage that's got the bone hanging in it. But, you know, it's okay. I always say to myself, you're not a machine, and it's not going to be perfect. So I'll go ahead and I'll get my squeezed lemonade put in there, and then I'm going to take a little bit of mustard seed Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to go around those outside edges just to give it a little bit more dimension. That's just a really nice way to help that moon really glow. Now I'm going to mask off my moon, and that mask does come with the stencil set, so I'll go ahead and tape that down. I'm going to start at the top of my card with this dried marigold Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to work it down about a third of the way. Then I'm going to come in with picked raspberry Distress Oxide ink. I will lay that down about another third of the way, and then I come back in with Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink and finish up inking that background. I'm careful at the very bottom where the grass is to make sure I don't like peel up any of those blades. But like I said, if there's any white spots left over at the end of my inking, I can usually find a Copic marker that I can just use to blend in those small little areas. One of the biggest areas that I had to go back and do was inside that little basket with the bone that's hanging down. I didn't even try to cut those openings. That would just have made that paper way too fragile. So I do definitely go back in with a purple Copic marker and just kind of ink blend or just kind of color it in. Again, if you look super duper close at the card, you can see it's not exact, but it's good enough for me. Before I completely remove all of my masking, I am going to take the die that I'll be using to cut this little piece out and just make sure that I have inked everywhere where I want that image to be in the die. Once I've got that figured out, I'll go ahead and peel off my little moon mask, my grassy mask, and then I will take off that white paper masking that's over the mushroom house. If you are super duper careful and you think you might want to use that mask again, you can just peel it off, and I usually just adhere them to the back of my stamp package. I would probably do this one again, so I am definitely going to be careful as I peel that off. As I said in the beginning of the video, I did not record myself coloring this particular image or illustration. This one takes me a good hour, hour and a half, and that's if I know which colors I'm using. I had already colored this once, so I had already had my colors picked out. But if I'm selecting colors and not sure what I'm doing with it, this could easily take me 2 hours to 2.5. But I really enjoy coloring, so that's just good relaxing time for me. Okay, I will list my Copic colors down below in the description. They will also be listed on my blog. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope you've been inspired to do your own background. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. You can also subscribe to be notified of future videos, or follow me on my blog, or follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdill. Thanks again. Have a great day.